Welcome back to another cast. The date today is December 24th, 2:30 p.m. Very close to Christmas, and I need to double check my vacation schedule, but I believe I'm doing this cast as a celebration for no longer needing to work for the rest of 2020, because I have the rest of the year on vacation. So I'm looking forward to spending a few days just to recoup, get ready for the new year. Welcome 2021. Definitely going to be just doing a lot more personal stuff, just enjoying myself. No major obligations of any sort, so that's exciting. Let's start it off as a cast. I do have quite a few days before I had to get back to work again, so why not? Let's just enjoy ourselves. Ah, yes. Well, we wrapped up the year. It's definitely been a very interesting one. And whether if you've been affected by the world in major or minor capacities this year, at least look back. And I always like to think of the good parts. I don't believe in the whole, oh, this year sucks, like the concept of a year being bad. There are good and bad moments in every year. This year is definitely special. And some people just aren't equipped to handle. Well, people get stir crazy, right? I can get stir crazy, even though I'm very famous for not needing to leave my room for months on end. It's definitely very trying times for so many people in the world. And a lot of people just look forward to the next year as if things would just automatically work out. It won't. That's not how the world works. But it's all about keep pushing on and making the most of what we can with every single day. Speaking of making the most of what we can, we're going to have a very interesting jungle matchup here. It's going to be between Pantheon Jungle and Graves. Now, Pantheon this patch, definitely probably oppressively strong right now. So we'll keep an eye out, see what they can make of it. Thresh is going to start Death Sentence the hook over. That's going to drop the Pantheon to half health. He needs to try to make his way out. No summoners blown by anybody so far. But here's the Echo, there's the Ignite, and the level 1 Aegis Assault to block the damage. He did flash out with that last tick. Wayne has already turned around, but the flash was already used. So they do get the Pantheon flash out of it, and that's a decently late recall. He's going to be late to blue. But the summoner damages, bot lane for blue team has lost all but Thresh's flash. Cassiopeia just stabs the Echo lightly. We're gonna have Jhin, Lux. So Jhin, Lux still has all their summoners. All of red team except for Pantheon's flash. All of their summoners are still up. Bot lane for blue team has lost 3. So overall, it's a +2 summoner exchange for top lane. Although that means Pantheon is forced to now start red. Make sure red team bottom lane gets to their camp on time. Also, he's just assuming that. No, that's not an assumption. It's worded. He knows that there's no invade. Just forced out the sum. So he's going to go ahead and take away this red camp. Level 1 smiting. He's still going to be level 2. Level 1 smiting because he did start Aegis Assault. And the game will continue on normally. There's a gentle lag here. We're not going to worry about that much. Thresh going for the Death Sentence. It connects onto the Lux. That's a lot of level 1 damage. Losing Singularity might be enough. Thresh flashes forward. That's going to be the last of bot lane summoners. Vayne. No flash on herself nor heal. So she cannot close the gap to make that last hit happen. Jhin and Lux both expend a summoner each to get out of that situation. So Lux is going to be fine for now. Definitely a very terrifying trade to be taking a level 1 though. Lux is dropping to critical health before really anything has happened. Up top, Darius against Malphite, still farming it out. Darius has the natural lane advantage here. Malphite cannot trade against him early. Or late, for that matter. Assuming Darius gets rolling. So a lot of forward positioning here from red team. Most of their lanes are forward. Ooh, the apprehend will miss. Malphite saves him some. Does he have Time Warp? He does. I'm finding that to be more and more standard. I've always ran Time Warp top lane. Definitely a lot of tanks do go Time Warp tonic. It's such an amazingly good rune. sometimes it's almost like a keystone level of power because it just gives you so much more longevity in lane. The amount of utility you can get just out of Time Warp Tonic, Time Warp Tonic is simply insane. And with cookies, it makes you be able to trade for very, very long periods of time in lane, which is something that tanks really like doing. Just the amount of extra sustain, the amount of extra punch you get out of every refill pod, it's a ridiculous amount of value. Way more than a lot of other runes. Because one way I like to think about runes, and one way that I'm conditioning myself to think about them, is thinking of each rune as, ooh, that's gonna be a forward aggressive trade. Cassiopeia, suddenly the flank has turned into an ambush. Echo, poison's ticking, he's going to walk away, he's gonna be fine, but now Graves, Aegis Assault will keep the Pantheon up for now. He's going to go back in for the shield wall. One more hit will finish it. The Graves reload is very fast. No, the quick drop back in. He is going to die to this. 1-for-1 traded. I'm sure Graves was just as surprised as myself when that shot didn't kill the Pantheon. So he has to throw away his life for the first blood. Is it so worth it for him? He gets the first blood plus assist gold onto the Cassiopeia. So it's actually plus 300 gold for him. When all said and done, it's as if they got 2 kills, while Pantheon only got 1 back. It's still damage minimized. But overall, that's gonna be a net positive for blue team. Oh, Vayne falling very low here. She will be fine for now. Echo's positioning up and the Cassiopeia teleporting in from behind. This is going to be a full rout. No hope for red team to survive. While blue team takes this, Reshiram turns himself up, will not die to the ignite. Excellent. Excellent sequence of events here by the blue team. They do make the plays happen. And now knowing that their jungler is not near, after that teleport play, they can just stay here and farm out the wave before having to recall. So setting the wave back to a mostly neutral position. Oh, never mind. That wave is going to be held at the tower. But back to my previous point, one thing I've conditioned myself to start doing is thinking of each rune, each upgrade, each objective that you can take as an exchange of gold, because gold is the resource which games are won or lost from. And one thing I like to think about here is, I believe people talk about it in the LCS, is you value Dragon Soul as something being worth, say, 1,000 gold. He's dead. Yeah, you value Dragon Soul as being something worth 1,000 gold worth of stats across your team. So that's going to... You can just kind of add the soul bonus onto the overall gold differential between both teams and say, well, we factor everything ahead. This team with soul is more ahead or still behind, depending on some situations. Even though they have what is on paper a permanent buff that you cannot get anywhere else. But when you're looking at the amount of effective damage that it can output, or the amount of effective damage it can take or regen, it essentially averages out to about like an X amount of gold advantage. And it's something I think about with Ruin as well, so basically something like Grasp the Undying. I like to think of that as every time you hit an enemy, you get maybe like a 50 to 60 gold swing in your favor, just off the sustain that you get, off the extra damage you deal. It's as if you temporarily had an extra longsword with you or something. It's in practice a bit more than that, and things like shield bash, under basically the same train of thought. So in that respect, I like to think of Time Warp Tonic as something that makes your Corrupting Potion give out like 50% more healing than what its actual effectiveness is. And in that respect, it's actually a very, very efficient rune, and it's incredibly powerful. And especially in laning, where everybody in this game stays Star's health broke, and any sort of early advantage you can get is actually worth a lot. A lot of this is still talking... Oh, that's a lot of damage from the guillotine. And yep, no chance for Malphite to win that one, so Darius is gonna go even more ahead here in the top lane. The root goes down onto the Vayne, the follow-up CC is there, but the Pantheon gets condemned back into a wall. He needs to make a miracle spear. No, not going to toss it. They're going to reset for now. So red team off to a gold advantage overall so far in the game. Most of the leads here is coming from the top lane though, so there's that to consider. But a lot of the way that I think about how gold and runes work, a lot of it is still more theoretical. Because obviously, in a game of League, you can very easily lose even though you have a lot more money than your enemies. Just off decisions being made through the game, just off the dynamic plays decisions you must make, the target focusing, the prioritization, how team fights are played, the wave management. All of this wins or loses games far more than theoretical stuff. Because in theory, yes, you could have an X amount of items at this stage in the game, but plans usually fall apart in the thick of combat just because no two games of League are alike, and as soon as you walk out of the gate, you're playing a brand new situation that you've never seen before. And theory only carries you so far. What really brings you far in the game like this is how experienced you are in the game, how much of the fundamentals that you know, and what you can do to adapt around constantly changing situations. And it's the beauty of playing games like MOBAs or RTS games, where, you know, very soon into the game, you are in a situation which you have never seen before. And it's really up to you on how you can make the best of it. A lot of it is the resource management system, and the analogy that's being made, similar analogy being made, I think, quoting Day9 here when he says about StarCraft. Real-time strategy genres, or just strategic genres in general, not so much action or not so much action or execution as much as it is a crisis management simulator. Because hold that thought, Lux is gonna get cornered. I'm just gonna talk about theory while I cast because the early game's boring. Yeah, she's gonna be fine. But okay, crisis management simulator, because there exists 5 other human beings on the other side of the team that is scheming to make your game plan fall apart. So at any given moment, there are 5 potential sources of crisis being applied to you. So you need to be constantly staying on your toes and managing the crises as they come in. That's essentially the idea behind playing games like StarCraft, playing games like Age of Empires, RTS games in general. Your enemy is trying to make things go wrong for you, and if they make enough things go wrong for you, you lose. So you're just managing putting out fires at the same time fighting back. And another quote I like to say is from Winter, who is basically, I don't know if Winter said it, but he's the one I heard it from, where if you're playing games, once again it's like a StarCraft thing that I'm translating to League, but once again playing this game is much more like playing against yourself. And if you can beat yourself, don't take that the wrong way, the enemies will beat themselves for you. If you have the fundamentals in place, if you're doing everything right, and you're effectively rebounding whatever that's being sent to you, your enemy will just fall apart on their own volition. So in games like this, where management comes down, well, constant management and constant awareness comes down to so much of it, raw mechanics or raw theory never really carries you too far. It's all about how well you can adapt. And the people who can adapt, people who can make the snap decision calls, those are the critical calls that can win or lose you games. And solo queue is a very different amalgam in contrast to all of this, because in solo queue it's not possible to communicate snap decisions on the fly. In an organized stack, 50 minutes in, the tiniest mistake is game losing. But in solo queue, these mistakes pop up left and right because the 4 other people on your team are not controllable factors, or at least not controllable fast enough before things have already gone bad. Echo going for a skirmish here against the Casio. He is still fine. Now it's 12.5 minutes in, but no too much action has happened except Thresh is gonna get caught out here. The box gets engaged. He is gonna get bound up. Lux will take that kill. They do catch out the support and kill him off. That might be a uncontested Drake going over to red team. Blue team might not be going for it yet. They are not. Grace is farming his jungle. Vayne is farming bot. But in solo queue environments, which are the games... Why did you give it to Mao? Is he talking about the blue buff? Or something else? Rift Herald maybe? I don't know, I paid no attention to the game. No, there was no Rift Herald. I have no idea what he was talking about. What did he give to Malphite? But anyway. But yeah, in a condition like solo queue, which are the games I cast way more often than any other games, despite myself never playing solo queue. It's interesting because these are people that have to rely on their own mechanics and their own knowledge of fundamentals, and to pray that their teammates aren't stupid enough to lose the game before they win it. It's interesting to watch this because leads can just evaporate around you without really you doing anything wrong, because it's impossible to coordinate. Well, not impossible, but it's very hard to instinctively coordinate playing around strong points, because suddenly you're playing a game that's not just League, but you're managing people, you're managing different egos, you're managing different playstyles, and you're managing different talents that you have no knowledge of. And it's always interesting to me because despite me having played League for 11 years and Dota for like 13, it's not actually a genre of games I enjoy in a solo queue environment. I enjoy the strategic aspect. I enjoy the theory crafting aspect where I can talk about stupid stuff and have people that are willing to suffer through me trying them with. But in solo queue environments and putting your individual skill to the test, it's not something I'm personally interested in. And it's always been interesting to me to think about the solo queue mentality and what skill sets are involved in playing solo queue as opposed to playing a stack of fives, because surprise surprise, it's very different. I am plat in flex, still trying to climb ish, but if you put me in a solo queue environment, I will not get above gold, because I firmly believe that I play way better than a gold player, but there are just skills that my skills do not translate well into climbing. So I will be stuck at gold, even though that is likely not where my true rank is. So I don't play it. I play the parts of League where I believe that I am a lot better at. So I am personally not a solo queue player, and casting solo queue games is interesting because you do see people making decisions, right or wrong, all the time. And it's interesting to me how these seem like actually completely different games. Anyway, that long 15-minute tangent aside, it's 16 minutes into the game. It's actually still quite boring. There hasn't really been explosive major teamfights around objectives. There's just been picks that translated into some objective takes. Except that Pantheon has just Skyfalled here, or Starfalled rather, into the bottom lane. Kenki steps on the Vayne. No, she will take the Lantern and be out. He may have saved the Jhin with that ulti though. So there's that. Now evaluating the matchups here. Top lane way ahead, Strikebreaker on the Darius. Pantheon against Graves in the jungle. Graves is definitely a lot more ahead than him. But Graves is also a very strong champion right now in the game. In terms of item wise, they're actually quite tied. In fact, I would actually say that Pantheon is slightly more ahead in items. That's because he just backed. And Graves is still on the map. I'm interested to see what the Graves will buy. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's no longer close. Kindle Gem and Warhammer picked up by the Graves. Mid lanes, I'm going to call it effectively even. Cassio is slightly richer than the Echo. And bot lane, I'm going to say slight advantage, red team's bottom lane. So overall, net advantage here to red team, but it's still definitely a very even game state. And you look at 4,000 gold in solo queue, it doesn't actually mean that much. If it was competitive, or maybe even organized 5-stack, or maybe even Clash, a 4,000 lead might be game ending in certain cases, because people in organized stacks are a lot better at playing around individual strong points and individual advantages. Solo queue not so much. A 4,000 lead can evaporate like chaff in the wind. Thresh hooks the Echo and he's going to be hooked back in. And there's the damage coming out. The Malphite ulti is there as well. Echo has to Chrono Break backwards. He gets some health back. But they focus so much effort here onto the Echo, which means that the Graves is being jumped on by the Darius. The guillotine goes out, but the Darius cannot finalize the kill. He spins on them and gets some health back and goes out. That's going to be 2 bodies on the ground. Oh, maybe 3. The hemorrhage bleed is there. Darius kills off Cassiopeia. That's going to be a 3 for 0. That team fight there might be enough to suddenly propel Red Team into a definitively winning position. We'll see. It's 18.5 minutes in. Everyone has a mythic, and Red Team takes down the Drake. 701 Darius. He is certainly very strong. His dive on Graves failed because, surprise, Graves is actually quite strong as well. But he definitely has the damage to kill everybody else on blue team. And that team fight results in a 3-0. Mostly also because blue team dumped a significant amount of resources into trying to kill the Echo, but ultimately not succeeding because Echo is in fact a balanced champion. Thresh going for some ward clears. Oh, is he gonna get it? He gets it. There's a Starfall coming in. Vayne's gonna get jumped and the Lantern saves her. Followed by the Death Sentence. The Condemn is there. The damage is down. But the Pantheon, he won't get finished off. Jhin comes in from the side to distract. Blue team splits their attention. Graves is going to full dive onto the Jhin. The Death Sentence gets juked out. Graves is still going. Thresh flashes over. Gets the Flay, which means Graves finalizes the kill. Collateral damage. There is no ADC here for Red Team. Echo is in the middle of it. Pantheon has to go out. He has no ulti and no life. What can he do? Beautiful max range Death Sentence, but the Chrono Break back, stalling him out. The Vayne Condemn and pushed him out. After the phase dive, Echo traveled 1,000 distance in less than a second. Still 6,000 gold ahead. That team fight, they just get the Jhin and expend the rest of the resources getting nothing. Effectively still a super advantageous state here for Red Team. It's going to be 3 Drakes to 0. Here comes the Unstoppable Force catch. Echo, he needs the ulti. He doesn't have it. This is not even half done. But Malphite expended his ultimate. He's way too weak. He doesn't have his mythic done yet. He's so incredibly behind. He had to rush tier 2 boost to stay alive, which means that he's sitting on bombies and not even a finished... He doesn't even have finished Legion. Which means that, yeah, okay, he just gets his Aegis. 600 off some. Just because you press R and die, it doesn't mean you get to feed. Although Darius did destroy him in the top lane, because that's just a terrifying matchup for the Malphite. I mean, you think a champion that stacks all armor can beat a Darius, but turns out Malphite just doesn't have sustained damage. So Darius scratches him to death. From basically level 1 through 18. There's like a tiny window, maybe at 6 when you can burst them down, but don't count on it. It's such a rough matchup for the Malphite. Darius is a Juggernaut. Juggernauts are made to bust tanks in lane and out of lane. They put out enough survivability so the tank's chip damages don't scratch them. And they also do a crap ton of damage back, so the tanks cannot outlast and sustain. But even in that situation, being this far behind is definitely more player skill than anything else. You should not be feeding this much, because Pantheon really just win top once, and then the rest is just Darius killing people. He finally picks up his I can't talk. He finally picks up his mythic. He has the Sunfire Aegis. And the Echo sets up for an ambush, the stun onto the Malphite. He's going to die before he even gets to do anything. Beautiful 2-man apprehend here by the Darius, but he only spins on top of the Thresh. That might be enough damage. The first dunk is there. He's going to flash over, cripples the Graves, but the Vayne kills him off. That's going to be the Darius' first death. That's going to be a 1,000 gold shutdown dropped over to the Vayne as well. The AD carry gets a huge injection of money, but can she make it back home to spin it all before the Echo comes in hot pursuit? He does have Proto Belt up. It doesn't seem like it, and there is the final Smarket kills off the Graves. Pantheon Tower Dive killing off the Cassiopeia as well. That's going to be a 4-for-1. The 1 is worth a lot of money, but definitely not worth 4 bodies. Not to mention the Baron Nashor on top, which Red Team is definitely doing right now. Although, who's tanking this? Can they even tank this? That's a Jhin. It doesn't do Baron that fast. And Echo is low. Lux is somewhat full. She's walking up to tank as well. The shield is there. This is a terrible... They don't have the damage to kill this in time. Oh no, here comes the rest of blue team. Malphite, he completely whips his ultimate. Oh my god, what are you doing? That was the freest kill of all time. They do kill off the Pantheon. The throw is still real, but it could have been a lot worse. Lux laser goes over. Can she secure it? No, she cannot. Lux does not get that. She assumed they were hitting Baron or something, but she lasered a bit too early. Darius says, "Oh, That was a disaster waiting to happen, but Malphite, in the Baron Pit with 4 enemies, he somehow manages to hit none. And he dies for his crimes. Regardless, a Baron throw is a Baron throw. Even though the damage is minimized, blue team is still wearing purple, very undeservedly wearing purple. Now they're moving forward to deny the Infernal Soul. This might not end up as lucky as last time. Malphite just respawned. He has no teleport. He has no ultimate. He's completely useless. This is going to be a 4-on-3 for now. And blue team, they secure it and kill the Echo! What is happening here? Pantheon joins the fight a little bit late. He starfalls into the back, but now this is a 4-on-4. The hook lands onto the Lux as well. Cassio is going to be a sacrificial lamb. She's been tossed to the wolves and going to kill off here by the Darius. The Pantheon is out of the fight. The Grace needs to run for the hills. The Death Sentence, beautiful connection, delaying the Jhin. That might just offer Thresh up to be the martyr though. Grace is dodging the Jhin bullets like his life depends on it, because it does. Blue team pull out, they get the Drake. They get 1-for-1. They trade the mid lanes. And at this point in the game, trading a 1-for-1 is really good. It's still a 1-for-1. Malphite is basically a minion. Still a 1-for-1 trade. Actually, he has ulti up. He really shouldn't have died then. Shout out to the Thresh, by the way. He's nailing a lot of these really critical hooks. But now there's suddenly no Baron, so red team going to rotate top. And now they're clearing Baron wards, because why not? Oh, Lux is gonna get hooked in by the Thresh. Instant kill. The Vayne connects and kills her off. The Pantheon jumps back in. Vayne gets her face sat on by a very bulky man, but she is out of there, and the full round is coming. Oh no, red team is actually throwing this. Blue team is just a Darius. He's gonna get killed off here by the Fangs. That's gonna be a 4-for-1. Oh, they dumped everything onto the Vayne and barely kills her. But turns out they still have damage aside from that. Malphite didn't even ult. He's holding onto that ulti like it's gonna hatch into babies. Oh, interesting petrifying gates. Echo is still fine for now. He has to make his way out. He chrono breaks back. Getting the slow. He's lead. Oh, what the heck? How did that hook connect? He types the dot. Vayne says, damn. I didn't expect that hook to hit either. It looked clearly out of range. That didn't hit. Even the Thresh is like, that didn't hit. There's no way that hit. Like, what was that hook? That's incredible, honestly. It seems like God really wants blue team to win. Giving them hooks like that. My goodness. I mean, lollipopping is a thing, but that's more like a mallet. That's not a lollipop anymore. Well, not a mallet. Mallets usually aren't round. It's more like a demolition ball. That's such a huge end hitbox connection. I'm so surprised it actually latched onto the Echo. What the heck? That didn't hit indeed, but blue team, they're making their comeback. They're actually about to be in a winning position. They almost equalized the gold. The next Drake is up in 1 minute 50, and suddenly we got a game here. I genuinely thought blue team was just going to die after that one team fight, but then they steal the Baron, they steal the Drake, and then they get another miraculously good team fight off. So now they're basically back into it. That's 3 failed team fights in a row for red team. Thresh is going to catch out the Darius, but who's caught who? There's so much stronger than he bargained for. Malphite commits his ultimate to reset his gold, and now he's worth money again just to kill the support. He's going to have it back by the time Dragon spawns. But he won't have it for this siege. And this siege might be more important. It's just a single cannon tanking it out. It dies. Backdoor protection kicks in. But the fight has already begun. The Darius is getting control. Nobody else is sharing the front line with him. Echo has to dip out with Chrono Break. That's gonna be a caught Pantheon dead on arrival, and that's still 2 bodies in the respawn box. And the next wave has arrived. Blue team crashes it in. This is an easy tower take. They're going to peel off and reset and get ready for Drake. That is the correct call. The golden rule of thumb, if you want an objective, be there 20 seconds ahead of time and start setting up vision 40 ahead of time. Any slower than that and you might lose your position before you even get there. So everybody's gonna recall, and being solo queue, nobody bought any words on their recall, so yay. I wonder where they're gonna secure vision with a blue orb, a 1 trinket, 1 pink, no 2 pinks, from 1 Guido. The red team walks in, they're going to start taking control of the pit. They have the inside track, the pit is facing them. Malphite walks around the bend. Strike Breaker used by the Darius. Malphite's gonna get rooted up. He's still very underfed. Blue team secures the Drake. At the same time, Pantheon drops in. There is not gonna be a smite steal right now. Now the teamfight might break out. The Flace sends the Darius away, but the hook goes wide. Vayne is leading the charge. She will heal for the speed, and there's the Darius. She might have been caught. No, just kidding. She does a lot of damage. The laser kills off the Malphite, but really, that's basically no longer a champion. Still a very positive team fight here for blue team. They're making it happen. This is the comeback. 22 to 25. But they have the gold lead. You know what blue team says? Hey, you know what? We can kill the Baron. We have the Vayne. You have a Jhin. Watch how Baron dies. Now they're going to actually start it. Vayne's going to come in and start shooting. Where's the Thresh? He needs to get over here and tank it. The hook does connect. He's coming in. 10,000 health. And as I say that, it's already dropped down to 6. Oh my goodness, this is so much damage. The Kurnagal comes in. First shot hits Thresh. Second shot hits Graves. Third shot hits Graves. Fourth shot gets tanked out. Blue team stays Baron Nashor. Once again, Pantheon is late to the pit. And now he's been totally isolated. The Aegis assault will keep him alive. GG is called by the Darius. This might be it. There might be a surrender roll popping up here for red team. They know that this game is no longer in their hands. Graves is so fed. Is this a jungle gap? Is this a jungle diff? Y'all need to learn to give some objectives. Top diff, says the Vayne. Honestly, yeah, top diff. Just not in the correct way. We make one macro mistake and all of a sudden you guys think you LCS champs Lamau. Do you not see the team comp diff? Hey, there is something to say. There is something to say about the team comp. Yeah, Malphite is inting, but this is not a team that the Jhin can kill. So really, you fundamentally just don't have the damage to fight late game. There is your hard 1 lane and are running it down. I have the lowest death on my team. That's an interesting argument because yeah, he didn't die. Since you're 700 games, 50% hearts. Oh my god. Oh, the flame is coming down. Graves is gonna kill off the Lux, and now he's dashing in for the Graves. No, not the Graves, the Jhin. He's so tanky though. Malphite gets his 2nd kill of the game. What the hell did he say? You need to rely on enemy teams throwing to win games. Like, is it really a throw? To be honest, the Darius, there's not much he can do. Like, this team is not equipped to win team fights against a draft like blue teams. But did he run it down though? He probably could have been way more effective in these team fights, yes. But I don't necessarily think he made any game-losing mistakes. Now, it might just be symptomatic of me not looking at him hard enough. I definitely don't think he's inting though. Vayne is just shredding him like butter. And she's still going. That's going to be one more kill. Jin's going to die before he makes it back to the fountain. Lux respawns for the laser. And to add insult to injury, the Zion's Hourglass saves her. She dies on the fountain. The throw has completed and blue team makes the comeback. The outscale is there. Turns out all Vayne needed was 1,000 gold from the Darius. But honestly, that's really hard to control. You can't really call that throwing. Blue team will take the win. GG is called. MVP to the Thresh, honestly. That was a really impressive Thresh game.